Hey, it's me, Mario!
Hi and welcome back to the channel. Here we are doing this fuel injection pump. It's a CAV fuel injection pump, and I couldn't really talk while I was doing it, as you can probably hear and see by the colour of my hands. It was absolutely freezing cold and the wind was just 40-50 miles an hour, so very difficult to do any recording. And it's because I'm doing it on the tractor, it's in such a small space. It's difficult to get the camera in. I just thought I'd do a short video of it, showing it can be done on the tractor. What's the problem with this one is that the throttle shaft's leaking. That's the shaft you can see at the moment on the left hand side, and at the moment I'm taking the stopper shaft top off on the right hand side. It's not leaking at all. It's got a cap on it, and that cap has stopped any dirt or grime getting down inside it, and that's what they're for. But if you notice on the left hand side, the throttle shaft, which is I'm just resting my fingers on now, there's no cap on it, so it's allowed, well, dirt and debris to get down there, and it's damaged the O-rings on the shaft. There's two O-rings on the shaft, which you'll see later. I did find it very difficult to video all this. I really wanted to make a really nice job of showing how it can be done on the tractor, but it was just an horrendous day. Hands covered in diesel, and I had a bit of trouble with the camera. It's not the camera's fault, it was purely mine, with having diesel all over my hands, trying to touch buttons with tissue and so on. Here I'm taking off the stopper shaft top, or the drive to the stopper shaft. That's the stopper cable that goes back into the tractor. Usually it's a red knob inside the tractor. And on the right hand side there is a spring which returns it. And I'm just removing the other end of the spring. There you go, you can see the spring now in my hand. You just need to try and get everything out of the way a little bit. I'm going to have to take off, I think you'll see me in a moment, take off the mount for it slightly to the left of the picture. I haven't quite got it in frame. You can, I don't know if you'll still be able to hear the wind after I've recorded over the voiceover on this, but again, you will notice the camera shaking on the tripod, and through editing sometimes I had to grab the camera because it was blowing it off. I had the van parked behind me in a building as well, trying to stop the wind to try and make a better job of the video, but it was one of those things. Next time I get another CAV pump to do, I'll try and, well, do it in a better situation. There's a guy on YouTube that does an absolute first class video of this, and I think he's called Bundy Bear's Shed. He's an Australian guy. He's obviously been a tractor engineer, I would say, all his life. Looks like he's got his own company. He's a really decent bloke, and he takes one of these CAV pumps off and does it on his bench in a vise. Now, I've never had one of these CAV pumps completely off and in the vise. I've always had, these shafts leaking, or the gasket leaking diesel, and it's always been on the tractor for me. This tractor's got a front loader on, by the way, so it just makes it a little bit more awkward. There you can see I've took the throttle shaft drive off, the top off it, and that's it there now. I would like to think it's been a lot cleaner than this, really. I was under the pump, as they say. I had a job to do, and it needed doing. I needed to get on and get away in the afternoon, so I didn't want to get down the road without throwing diesel out. So yeah, really, degreaser all the way around everything, and then just wash it off, blow it off with a compressor. And you really want to be working as clean as you can. The weather conditions wasn't great for me. Here I'm just snipping, there's a piece of wire goes through the two acorn nuts, as you can see. It's a seal, so if anybody tampers with a pump, inside the pump, then it's noted by that. You can see I've cut it off. You can just see the hole in the front acorn nut there. You can just see the hole where the wire passed through, and a little bit of wire stuck out, the one at the back. As I say, do look at Bundy bears. Oh, there you can see me. Pull the little bit of wire out now. Try and get these bits of wire out of the way. You do not want those inside the diesel pump. What it happens is they rust inside there, and little tiny bits stay in there. And if you're not careful, you could, when you clean up and that, you could end up with them inside the pump, and you wouldn't want that. As I say, look at Bundy Bear's shed, and he strips one down completely. I've never done one that completely stripped down. I've only had the top off them. We used to send them into injection specialists because they said that's what we had to do. But nowadays, 40 years on, I wouldn't do that at all. I would strip them and rebuild them myself. There's nothing to it really, and so if you watch his videos, you'll see him take it completely apart, and he explains everything in great detail as well. And if you've got a CAV pump to take down complete to pieces, then that is definitely the video to watch. It is really, really good. It's probably an hour, but very enjoyable. I'm trying to clean now around the back. There is a bleed screw around there, which bleeds the top half of the injection port. You can see a bleed screw at the bottom left of the picture at the moment. My head's now in the way. That bleeds the bottom half, and then there's one round the back which bleeds the top half of the cap, which we'll have to bleed before we start the tractor. But usually they fire straight up. Once you've put the cap back on and tighten the acorn nuts, you've got everything back on. Usually just bleed it through with the pump on the other side. Probably a dozen pumps just to make sure of it. And they normally fire up like it's never been in a part. Inside the cap there's a couple of pitfalls which you do need to watch. There's a spring in there on your governors which has to be in a set position. If it's not in the right holes, there's 3 holes on the throttle body mounting side of it, on the throttle shaft, and there's 3 holes in the governor plate. You'll see in a moment this one is in the centre. Here's me blowing it out the air line, trying to just get everything cleaned out the way, so you can see by the white of my hands how cold it is. That spring does need to be in the right place. If you get it right, when you take it off, just have a good look at it. You'll see me pull this off gently in a moment. They're the acorn nuts I'm undoing. When we get it off, just take note that I'm having a good look to make sure I know which holes those pins, that spring, sorry, are in, because it is very important they're in the right holes. Underneath those acorn nuts I'm taking up at the moment, which holds the complete body on, there is 2 fibre washers, and they are in the kit. You buy a kit and it gives you the complete gasket. You can just buy the kit for the top if you want, or you can buy the complete kit for the complete pump. Well, there's only about £2 in it, so you might as well have the kit for the complete pump. And if you've got a pump stripped down, at least you've got everything on stock ready to go. Well, there is 2 fibre washers under there, but there only is 2 in the kit. They don't give you any spare ones. In the kit there is spares usually, 3 O-rings instead of 2 and stuff like that, so they do put an extra one in, but on that they don't, and I don't know why really, because I mean tiny little fibre washers like that must be millipence each. and it would make the kits better just in case you drop one or damage one. Exactly the same with the O-rings we're going to put on the shafts. They're a silver O-ring. I have no idea why they're silver. I haven't got a clue. I would imagine it's something to do with being in diesel. I've tried to look it up, but I've still not come up with the answer. Again, there's 4, 2 on the stopper shaft and 2 on the throttle shaft, and they only send you 4. There's no spares. You think they just put 5, wouldn't you? Again, there must be millipence. Here's me taking the cap off really slowly. Just be aware, you don't want things to fall apart in here, and you need to have a look inside. We'll get a better look in a minute when I've got it off, but my arm's in the way. But it is very difficult to film. It's a very small window, so the view may not look good. Right, you can see the spring now, and you see that when I'm pressing on that little rivet, it's got a spring on it and a hole in it, and it's in the centre of the governor body. So we have to unup the spring, what's fastened to the to the throttle shaft, and get that spring out there first, and then we can just lift the top completely off, and it all comes away. There's nothing else in there going to fall out. But do have a good look. It is very, very important you do have a good look, and don't drop that little pin with a spring on it. You can just see it in my fingers now. I should have shown it to the camera, but it was blowing so bad. I was trying to drop it. I had the table at the side of me, putting everything on, and I had it wedged against the tractor wheel, and we didn't want things to blow off. Right, that's got the top of it now. You can see the 3 holes in the dome shaped plate in the centre of the picture, bottom of the picture. There's 3 holes, and that's what that little rivet goes in, and mine was in the centre one. So you must take note of that, and it must go back the same. Different tractors will be different positions. Fergie's for some reason tend to be in the, I think it's the top one, but they can see there, look, that's the throttle shaft. You can see clearly, and then the springs in the centre hole. So that is a pitfall. If you get that wrong, there is a plate on the side of the body, serial plate, on the side of the injection pump, which does tell you where to put it. There is the first numbers on it at the bottom are the test numbers, and then the next number is the governing settings, but you need a chart for that. But you can find them on the internet. I think again that guy in Australia, I think he puts a chart up and shows you the chart, and he explains it in detail better than I can at the moment. So I haven't got the chart here, but there's a chart you work it out by from them numbers, and then you get it right. So not all's lost, but if you haven't got one of those serial plates on the side of your pump, and quite a lot of them are missing, they're only riveted on, then you are going to be stuck. It'll be guesswork. It'll be on and off, on and off, on and off until you get it right. So yeah, good to have a camera running at the side of you so you can see what you're doing. There's a bleeding nipple, my thumb's on it now. You unscrew that, it's on the back of that faces the casting engine cast on the tractor. That's a bleeding nipple. What we're going to undo when we've got it all back together again and pump diesel through, just to fill all that cap cavity up. Cleanliness is godliness. You saw me scrape it all off with a razor blade. Now I'm just doing it down with just fibre cloth, really, just to make it nice and clean. You only get one gasket, which is again a bit annoying. It would be nice to have a couple just in case, but I've got a little burr there. I'm just going to cut it off with a razor blade. Yeah, there you go, just cuts it off with a razor blade. So that's going to, again, stick into the gasket. We don't want it leaking. The idea is to stop it leaking, because that's what it was doing. It wasn't leaking around the gasket at all. It's not very often they do, really. So do make a nice job of cleaning that down, but don't go at it with some serious, emery cloth, something like that. Just be a bit careful. That's where the fibre washers go. That's where the 2 acorn nuts sit. and that's where the fibre washers go in those two little recesses. That's a good picture of my arm. I was trying to video it from the direction I was looking at it to try and make it a bit easier, but you can see my hands have warmed up now. I'm inside the workshop and I've got a bit more colour in my hands now. It wasn't necessarily, well, it was about 1 degree above, but it was blowing a gale, so the wind chill factor was terrible. But when you clean down inside of these, you'll soon see me clean the grooving tool I've got. Do put some tissue down these shaft holes, because there will be a bit of dirt in there, but don't scratch them whatever you do. Just have a little bit of patience with them. Put your tissue down gently, pull it through, and finish through. I'll break the bottom off. There you go. Take the bottom bit out inside. It's cleaned it out. So essentially, you get it quite clean. Now, there's a bit of footage here for some reason. I did the throttle shaft first, the one that's leaking. You can see it laid up there at the top of the picture with a spring attached to it. That's the throttle shaft, and the one on the right hand side of the picture, that's the stopper shaft. You can see the grooves around. There's O-rings still on at the moment. They're the two little fibre washers in the centre that I took off. They're what go below the acorn nuts. They do make, quite a clean job of it. Normally what I would do probably is take all that horrible old paint off, nice Moses or something like that, or bead blast it just to clean it all off. Be careful with it though, again, don't damage it. I'd imagine these parts of these pumps now are very hard to come by. Like you can see, I've already done now the throttle body, the throttle shaft. You can see the spring there's laid there on its own, and the throttle shaft's in. Getting diesel all over my hands, I set the camera off and didn't realise that it wasn't recording, so totally my fault. It's nothing to do with the camera, it's just me. But with diesel over your hands, it's a bit difficult to get it everywhere on the camera, then you'll have to do your camera and it makes everything smell. Right, I've moved the camera around to the front. I think it's a better shot. That all them parts you see at the bottom of the picture, that's the bag full of stuff you get for the sort of top half of the pump. There's copper washers there for the injector line, but we're not going to change on it. Because none of them are leaking, they're all good. You can see me putting the spring on. They're the little, it's a little tool set. If you look to the right of the picture, blue handles. But it's a tool set for putting O-rings on and off. They're ever so good, with different shaped ones. And what I did, if you see, look, I put the top one on first. These are those little silver O-rings I've been telling you about. Why the silver, I've no idea. I put the top one on first, then I put the bottom one over the top one, because it just wants to drop it in the groove. There is a groove in the centre as well. Don't know why that groove's in the centre. A bit of relief, I would imagine, which when you're engineering and making shafts sometimes, to stop shafts from binding, you just put a bit of relief between the seals. So there you go, those are two seals on. You can just see the groove in the centre of it. And nicely in place. I don't put oil or anything on these when I put them in, I just put them in dry, and you'll see it in a moment, just go straight in. Just wiggle your hand up, straight in the clock. And then try and put it in the position you took it off at. So when you come to fit it, it goes into the shaft, which is still left on the thing. That's the spring going back in the centre hole. And you can see the two O-rings on the right hand side, what I've taken off. They're both split. The two on the left hand side, which was out of the stopper shaft, was in good condition. They would have been fine. the two on the right hand side, they'd gone really hard, and they both split when I took them off. Again, that cap's missing, so I've got to suggest that that's what's caused the problem. Right, I'll leave you to watching it here, and I've got a little bit of explanation on the video.
Well, I think the reason why this one was leaking, because that one had a cover on it and that one hasn't a cover on it, and there's no cover in the kit. How crap's that? Should be a little dust cover over those, and there isn't one. Doggone it. Yeah. Oh well. Right, we'll go put it on. There we go, starts up. I did film the original start up, but for some reason, well, I know the reason why, the camera turned off. Anyway, she runs alright now. Not leaking, look. That one wasn't leaking anyway, that's the stopper, it wasn't leaking. Just the throttle what was leaking. It fired up immediately, no hesitation at all.